Good morning, traders. So it is Monday, the 1st of August, 2022. I'm just going to kick off and go straight into the markets analysis this week. Let's have a look. Let's start off by looking at the US dollar index. So you can see it is currently in a weekly retracement back down towards 105. I think it's reasonable. There has been resistance here. I think it's reasonable to expect that we could see a move down to 104, potentially finishing up possibly, if not this week, next week with a small bullish candle or a bullish candle, wherein the dollar might now then attempt to resume back up to the upside. So my initial expectation, at least, is to see the market heading lower. For the first part of this week, we'll have to see if ultimately it does finish higher. But I think it's reasonable also to see the dollar against the euro, to see euro dollar here head up towards these previous lows, which puts it around the 1.04, 103.50 level. There isn't any really much bullish divergence on the weekly, and therefore I'm not necessarily expecting this to be a change in trend at this time, but at least this week looking just for it to be a move to the upside. You can see how the monthly candle has finished for the euro dollar. That wasn't really a strong rejection of the lows. Usually in cases like this, there might be a continuation down. That isn't really what I would consider a rejection candle, unless of course we break the high of it in August, but I'm not expecting that at this time. Sterling has had a really nice recovery. We've broken through this bearish line in the sand. So not a trend line in the traditional sense, just a bearish line in the sand. We have broken through that. That's a relatively nice indication. So at this point, also expecting, possibly looking for price to hit up towards 1.24, a little bit higher there. So expecting at least for the start of the week, a weaker US dollar. Aussie also looking nice and strong here. Nice deep retracement coming back into these old highs. We've got potential to continue to the upside there. Again, none of the weekly charts are showing any reason to do a bigger correction other than a just normal retracement at this time. The monthly showing a nice bullish candle over there as well. Let's have a look at Kiwi dollar. Also off a major level here, a nice little bullish candle. But this indicating the potential for this to go as far up as 0.6550 as well. So there could be, for day traders this week, or for shorter term traders, there could be some really good potential trade setups in the direction of a weekly US dollar. What's slightly different here is seeing dollar yen have a deeper correction. It does appear as though it's got a monthly rejection candle off a major historic level. If we kind of go back and have a look at this on a bigger scale, the last time we were sort of in this area will put us around about 2001. Again, that's 20 plus years ago. In fact, actually where we were before that is going back to 98. And so we really only entered the retail currency market around 97. So just to give you some perspective there. And so this, if we do have a standard retracement, we could see dollar yen heading all the way back down towards these old lows here. If it does a 50% retracement, for example, could be coming all the way back down to 120. I think that's a little bit of an ask at this stage, especially if that dollar starts to strengthen again. But I think 130 down towards 126 could be here, could be, let's call it, could be have set its sight on that. So again, I like the idea there'll be some bounces off these levels, but I do like the idea of some just keeping an eye here of this sort of divergence over here on the indicator. But I like the idea of I would expect there to be some bounces here, but actually in the meantime, I'm looking to see this have some nice continuation setups. Okay, dollar Swissy as well, starting to breach these lows. We've got a series of lower highs there on that weekly chart and starting to head a little bit lower, and some seriously strong rejections on the monthly. So all of this indicating that dollar Swissy should be pushing. I would expect that to go below 0.94 and heading lower than that. Dollar CAD, let's have a look as well. Dollar CAD finishing up again, a whole series, almost a year's worth. Let's have a look. Yep, almost a year's worth of candles that have had quite a strong rejections up there, excluding April. But this also looking as though we're going to see that push back down. And so obviously not necessarily this week, but that's what it looks like it's going to have on the cards. Dollar ruble just staying where it is for now, not really doing much else there, and finishing off with euro Swissy just to kind of see where we are. This has continued through well below parity. Doesn't really look as though there's going to be much change in that, so I'm still happy. Now there's definite bullish divergence creeping in on the daily. We are due for a weekly retracement, and that's a possibility. We could see a move back up to parity. I'm not sure if that's going to come this week yet, but it could start showing itself by the end of the week. Yeah. Then moving on to metals, gold. Really nice rejection off that. That weekly looks great. So I'm expecting us to head up to 1800. That's a fair assessment. That monthly candle also a nice decent rejection, but not very, very strong. Not an outright rejection. Just a good bounce at this time. So I think for this week, I'm just looking to see if we can head up towards 1800. If we go higher than that, then that adds to the idea that we might see a bigger move. Right, silver. Nice little bit of a double bottom on the daily with some bullish divergence. Funny that the monthly candles close is very similar to kind of just closing and opening in that right here. It's a bit of a nice, better quality rejection candle. We've got a nice strong bullish near the close candle on that weekly, and therefore, yep, strong possibility of a move up to 22 at least in the medium term. Let's have a look at copper. Nice strong rejection here within a bigger move off these old highs. So yeah, a bit of a retracement to the upside makes more sense there. Natural gas as well. Wow, back up at these old highs, but struggling again. Just can't seem to get above these old highs just to see that exhaustion in there. So that one's a lot more tricky because yes, there's a lot of pressure to push it past that, but it's also struggling with that particular barrier. Okay, West Texas crude. US crude oil, you can see, hasn't quite connected with 85. That's something I'd still expect it to do. And you can see, although it is producing a higher low here and trying to get through, there's also all the wicks start appearing, as in there's a lot of resistance to the upside here. So we've got a push in line with all the other commodities, but we also have a lot of resistance up here. So it's going to make it quite choppy. All right. Okay. So starting off with Brent as well, pushing to the upside, a little bit stronger actually, compared to say US crude oil. But the monthly is just a bit concerning. You can just see how we sort of closed in this area, closed in this area, closed in this area, closed in this area. So this is treading water, and therefore is also, again, I think would benefit from a nice correction down towards 80, and then a continuation from that side. So I just believe it's going to make it a little bit more choppy for day traders. Just have to be prepared for that. Looking at sugar here, we're coming back down to these lows. We're technically still range bound unless we break through and outside below this previous low, which is not impossible at this point in time. So we could see that hit lower. Coffee as well had that really nice correction back off 200, bounce right off it, and is looking good. It's still in a downtrend, or at least producing lower highs, lower lows on the weekly. But I'd be interested. I think that there's a good chance for this to head a little bit higher this week. Wheat as well, really strong correction to the downside. You could just see all of this exhaustion up here. So this is similar to what we've seen with, for example, what was it, natural gas, that we see that kind of correction, that behavior, that exhaustion. And we can see we've come back down into these old highs here. So what are we looking for here? It's an attempt to turn around. We've got bullish divergence. I'd like to see this produce a nice little bullish candle here and start to push back up and head a little bit higher. Cotton as well, really beautiful correction back down into the moving averages and finishing with a strong rejection of the lows. This to me looks as though it has that potential to move a little bit higher. It's coming into an area of resistance, but I think we can move on and head up. And now onto the major global indices. Let's have a look at the Dow. Very nice bullish inside candle that closed right near the highs. So for me, this is almost as ideal a setup as we can get. My expectation is, because we closed near the highs, I'd like to see us kind of pull down a little bit, come back down towards say 32,000, and then continue back up. Usually if we just carry straight on from where we are, it's not as strong as a takeoff, as odd as that sounds. We need a little bit of a correction before we continue up. But this is overall is very nice and bullish. Again, I don't believe, according to my definition, which has 5 characteristics that we need to fulfill, I do not believe we are back into a bull market just yet. At least one of those is that we are above that 50-period moving average. We're not there yet, but we are certainly looking like we're on our way. So I'm still going to position myself to the upside. What I'd like to see, if we just S&P here, is to see a correction to the downside. So just a daily retracement back down to the lower numbers, and then a continuation up before we break the high like that. That would be a stronger finish. This is really, that is a nice bullish signal. Inside bullish candle closing right near the highs, almost no wick at the top, but a continuation straight from here is not as strong as if we have a bit of a nice healthy correction. But overall, yes, looking very, very nice and bullish. And ladies and gents, yes, it is feasible that we could be at the bottom of this. It's a little bit too soon to tell. I really want to see us, if nothing else, I want to see us start to get past the above the 50-period moving average on the weekly, which is not going to happen anytime soon. So we have, again, also strong bullish candle there. Let's have a look at the Russell. The Russell, the same thing again. You can see it's back up into resistance. So I want to see us cross over that line as well. We've got the FTSE. Beautiful that it's exactly on old resistance, is now finding support. So again, that makes a case. You could just see how these highs here, this is going to present a bit of an issue. So I'm just going to put in a level there just so we can keep an eye on that, because that is where it's going to start to struggle with where it continues. But otherwise, that looks great. Let's have a look at the DAX. The DAX, actually, I would have preferred it to produce this bullish candle here, but it has produced it off a previous high. So again, I'm going to mark that level there. It's not anything significant. I need to really see us get back up above this 13,380. The Nikkei as well. That's not bad. We're still within a range. So this would need to break above these old highs, which again, would put it above that 50-period moving average. So we really do need to see that start to break above, let's call it 28,500 even, just to really put it in the safe zone. S&P, ASX in Australia, excuse me, really nice bullish inside candle as well. Also got a bit of resistance in this area, but this doesn't have that far to go. Again, I would prefer to see it above 7,200. Overall, not that unhealthy. I like the look of this. We need to see that continue, and it looks as though there's a good chance it might do that. Glencore finishing with an almost perfect bullish setup here on the monthly, so that looks pretty good. Have we already broken the high? It appears we have. So that also looking pretty good there. Let's go to Tesco. So these are out of the UK. Nice little bullish candle here in the moving averages, starting to break the high. I want to see a bit of a follow through. Here we had a bit of a mixed kind of signal over here. We could see we went push back buyers, sellers pushing down buyers. So here I want to see a calm, steady follow through. On that side, we've got Amex as well. This is an acceptable finish, by the way, for this, where it is. I quite like the look of this, but again, I want to see a break. I want to see August break the high. So, for example, with Amex, I need to see it finish and break the high of, excuse me, where is it? Come on, there we go. So 154.38. Let's have a look at Apple. Apple, of course, has almost single-handedly lifted everything up. You can see a really strong bounce off these alt highs, almost a bullish engulfing candle as opposed to an inside candle. So it's just inside these two previous candles, but it doesn't really matter. The story is from very few wicks or tails or shadows, upper wick, lower wick, and solid close. That is a solid return. Again, I'd love to see it just a daily retracement and a continuation to the upside. It is, I still anticipate that we will still encounter some issues at these highs here. But because I don't think that we let off some steam. We had to, got a little bit too fat. We've lost a bit of weight. That's good. And now we need to sort of push a little bit higher. Let's have a look at ARK. So the ones that have finished near the low, which is Spotify and Netflix and ARK, there's some of these technology stocks. We really have to see how they're going to cope with these. So for me, my expectation is to see some of these start to work their way back up into the underside of the 50-period moving average, let's call it, or to the moving averages up here. So again, I need to see this month start to break above the highs, but certainly if they start to pick up from there, that would be good. AT&T has been, obviously had a really big knock at this time, so it just can't seem to get through this zone. We'll leave that alone for now. It might try and work its way back up, but getting quite choppy. This is a strong bounce, but Berkshire Hathaway is Berkshire Hathaway. We can expect a strong bounce from this company as well. So you can see back up above these old highs outside of this range of price and starting to look really good. So again, all of these could do with a daily retracement before continuing to the upside. We've got a BP as well. Strong BP finish. It's interesting to me because all of these are also supported by a weaker US dollar. Really, if we get that US dollar strength coming back, which could possibly happen as price goes back up to these areas. So we could see that being the reason that the markets are then unable to continue upwards. We'll see Exxon as well. Exxon, strong bullish recovery. Actually didn't even bother to connect with this area, which in itself is acceptable, but it actually implies a stronger finish than you would believe. Coca-Cola, beautiful, absolutely beautiful swing low there. This is a great sign for a continuation. I want to see what happens when we get back into these old highs. But in isolation, if I was ignoring that, about the future, about where we're going in terms of price difficulty, this is perfect. It's an absolutely perfect swing low. FedEx as well, also starting to look good here. Remember, we've sort of been ping-ponging around here for a while. This is now, look at this, a little bit all over the place, but here something's changing. All of these candles, a lot of bullish candles. The behavior in this cluster of candles here is very different from this, sort of rhythmical. This is buyers coming back in and starting to push everything else out. We've got bullish divergence. A lot of this implies we're going to see a move out and up outside of this range. So this week or the next few days, I expect this to start to push up to 240 and a little bit higher. General Motors finding some strong support off these lows here. Really nice takeoff there on the weekly, all looking nice and bullish. So again, aside from any kind of happy, healthy retracements on the daily, I would expect these to continue and follow through this week. And again, as I'm saying, I would prefer a retracement as well. I would consider that healthier. Nice monthly candle here on JP Morgan Chase. Again, not a lot showing much on that weekly, but it's got a bit of a breakout level it's trying to form. So let's just kind of stick that in there. We're looking to see this breakout and a nice little breakout with quite a bit of pressure off this level of support that's now resistance. Should see a move, quite a significant move back up towards, let's call it 125 or 130 if we get that. Let's have a look at Meta. So again, Meta closing near the lows. In fact, here it continues to look, there is some bullish divergence, but this doesn't really look like it's going to go anywhere at this time. We did, actually interesting, when I drew this, we broke out to the upside and then broke out to the bottom. So definitely, this is a wild swing, and actually therefore that kind of makes this much more inconsistent in my opinion. So for now, I would stay neutral or bearish on this, not expecting too much out of them. Morgan Stanley, beautiful double bottom, pushing up to break. This is its next level of resistance around 86, but that's a lovely monthly candle. So again, the momentum is now to the upside there as well. Netflix also nice, beautiful swing low. I would say 250, if not 300 in its near future. We've got Nvidia, also nice strong bounce off this area. It's highlighted in the green area as a potential buy area from a longer term assessment as well, and also looking good there. So expecting that to head up to these previous highs over there, which is close to 200. We've got PayPal, something very small, a very small sort of U-turn on in terms of price action. There's nothing here that doesn't say it shouldn't keep going back up to 120. If it can break through that, that's where its next level is. We've got Spider as well, which has produced a nice little double bottom. It come down here and produced bullish candles. So this week, looking for a nice bullish candle before it continues to the upside. And it's definitely got some resistance where it is. So a little bit of a potential breakout building up there. Spotify, consolidation sideways, but this is all very good. I'm happy. I just want to see this back over this previous level of support, see it back into this band of price, and therefore can work its way back up to 150, and that all looks good to me. Otherwise, Tesla's got a nice strong finish similar to Apple. So actually, out of the ones I've looked at here, this is one of the stronger recoveries. So that's already headed back up to 900. So remember, there was a good buying opportunity there again at 600. And there's again a good buying opportunity where it is now. Okay, before it heads up to the top there, we've got Vanguard. Nice inside bullish candle, also looking nice. It's a good location for it as well. I'm happy for that to be the case. It's about to breach these previous highs and then continue up. Okay, so let's move on to bonds. Have a look, you can see we started that swing low. We had a good strong move to the upside. We've broken past these sort of above these previous highs. So we're sort of more of a daily uptrend and weekly uptrend now than anything else, expecting that to continue in that direction. So you can just see there's a general upwards trajectory. Look at that strong rebound of the Eurobond, recovering so quickly considering it was down at these lows, and it's almost recovered back halfway back up the distance. So what I want to see this week is, I'm curious to see where we finish the week, but certainly expected to head back up into the moving averages. Okay, so cryptos. So crypto should now see a decent lift. There's some resistance here on Bitcoin at 24,000. I expect this to break. It's in a good place even where it is now to try to work its way back up to 30,000 this month. So I'd like to see it do that. Ethereum, nice strong inside bullish recovery. Ethereum is just reacting beautifully. Very technical behavior. This is great. Looking to see this breakthrough and head up towards 2,000. So that again, some good opportunities there. And we've got Cardano. There we go. Again, trying to break up through these levels here, but just interesting to see those small candles, which small candles can often precede big moves. So let's see if that's going to be the case. We've produced our nice little bullish candle for July, and so this is where I'm expecting this to start to head up a little bit higher there, but not as strong as the previous ones at this time, not showing much there. You can see again Binance as well producing that solid daily uptrend. In fact, it's been in a daily uptrend for a couple of weeks here. And that nice monthly candle, all of this should see it heading up as well. And finishing off with Solana, which is not moving up at the same kind of rate. It's got some definite resistance where it is here. But all of this looking good so far. Nothing that I believe should really hold it back. It just got to work its way above these highs, and then I think it'll start to pick up a little bit of pace there. So crypto's starting to pick up a bit alongside quite a few of the tech stocks as well. So all of that makes sense. Everything is pretty much behaving as expected. All of them implying a weaker US dollar for now. And that's interesting. Are we going to get a weaker dollar that finishes strong by the end of the week, or are we going to see a much deeper correction? It's going to be interesting. And if we do, what will happen with dollar yen, and what's going to happen then with equities? Okay, but for now, everything looks very much in line with a nice little recovery from equities. We should see a continuation, and we should see cryptos climb a bit. So all ending very well. All's well that ends well. Thank you very much, guys, and chat to you next week.